Welcome back to the Primetime Bets with Shuey and Shuey. It's week 7. I had a great week last week. The bets weren't so great, but it doesn't matter because the Giants took on the Baltimore Ravens and they covered for me. And that Shuey and Shuey, that double down, came through for me. I'm feeling good about it. Shuey, how you feeling, man?
Well, I'm happy I'll get to drink a beer tonight. That's one good positive out of it. My Ravens are just heartbreak city right now. 3 losses, trailed for 120 seconds in those 3 games. It's, I don't know. Hopefully they can pick it up this week again against Cleveland, back at home. Hopefully we can dominate, but I don't know. Those division games are always close.
Yeah, it was the perfect storm this past week. I think you've got the Giants who have been the king of fourth quarter comebacks this year, and then the Ravens who have been giving up fourth quarter leads or at least second half leads in their losses this year. So. I was surprised that the Giants won. I'm not going to front. I thought they were going to lose that game, but I thought that ultimately the cover of the 6 point, or what was it 6 points? No, it was 3. No, it was 6 points. The 6 point cover was good. But yeah, what is going on with that offense right now? And it seems like now Mark Andrews might be hurt,
Yeah,
or
he's got
he
a
missed
little.
practice.
He missed practice today and yesterday. I think it's a knee thing. But I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the indicator of what's going down for Sunday. I don't know. I think that we just go into a very small middle school style playbook in the second half, and it seems like the first 3 quarters, Lamar's QB rating is like above 100, and he's got like something crazy low in the fourth quarter. And it's like I don't know if it's his decision making is going haywire in the fourth, but I don't know. It seems like as a fan watching it, we're running very simple plays and running the same plays, and it's just very easy to read, and we get no momentum at all going.
Yeah, there's not much of a step on your throat kind of mentality going
No,
on. It
I
just
mean,
feels like you're running out the game.
and that's just from the offense too. I mean, and the defense. I mean, the defense goes and plays a soft zone and just lets them march right down the field, and then just the game changes so quickly. But we're gonna put it behind us. We'll go this week against the Browns and keep chugging forward.
So that Shoe and Shoey paid off quite a few. We paid off the Minnesota Bears bet that we pushed on, and then the Giants Ravens, and again $25 to St. Jude from Shuey, and we're gonna get that drink from a shoe tonight. Maybe by the end of this episode. We don't know. You'll have to tune in to find out. But let's move on because I want to talk about if you have been betting. Maybe not with me. I mean, I've had a pretty decent couple weeks here since San Francisco's Monday night game. But if you have been betting with both Shuey and we are 4-0 on our bets together, and I'm sorry, I'm 7-3-1 with that push on the Bears on my best bets in the past couple weeks. So we've actually had a pretty decent run here. And if you're getting the advice that both of us are taking a player, it's we've been undefeated. So in the past couple of weeks, so feel good about that. We got another good one coming here. And if you're a fantasy player, it's a rough week. We've got Buffalo out on bye. We've got the Rams out on bye. Cooper Kupp. We've got Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, and the Minnesota Vikings out on bye. Dalvin Cook. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles, the 5-0 Philadelphia Eagles. Some major stacks gone out on bye if you were a stacking player. Some major pieces: Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. Even if you think into running backs, Miles Sanders and even Devin Singletary, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, you're out all over the league. So there's a lot of missing holes here, and I think as a result of that, we're going to see a lot more low-scoring games. When I was looking through the games this week, it was a lot harder for me to find games I really was interested in. We will give you our best fantasy plays in a minute, but let's roll right into New Orleans at Arizona. We've got the return of the exit Marquise Brown, enter DeAndre Hopkins, and again, we hope Marquise Brown heals up and is good here. He went on IR today, and he'll be back at the end of the season, but I'm really excited to see D-Hop come back. I think he's probably going to have a really, really nice game here. I think DraftKings has a pretty sweet Hopkins over catches, yardage, and touchdown odds boosters. So if you might want to try that, I wouldn't mind. I might just mess around and try it. But as the game goes, I'm gonna roll into my first best bet here. It's not my first; it's actually my fourth in line. But we're gonna go Arizona -2.5. I think that the energy of Hopkins coming back. It seems like James Conner might be playing here, and if he does, I feel he's not playing. Oh well,
He's ruled inactive this. He was ruled active this afternoon. Inactive this afternoon.
Well, it doesn't change that much for me. I probably would have been willing to bet it closer to 4 if he was playing, but I think still 2.5. This is probably a win for Carolina. They're the team on the road. New Orleans is banged up, and you've got Olave, I think, coming back, but even still, he's got nothing else there. The rest of the offense has been kind of banged up, and I think it'll be a really ugly game, and I think that as much as Arizona hasn't looked amazing on offense all year long, I think this will be enough for them to take this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I take this had it as a lean, but I'm gonna take it as a bet for Arizona at -2.5. Like I said, we get Hopkins back. He should be a top target for Kyler tonight. And seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter that Kyler Murray is going to have a Call of Duty game tonight, but Call of Duty multiplayer doesn't come out till next week. He is a multiplayer degenerate, not a campaign player. So next week is going to be the Kyler issue. So, but I think Kyler will have a good game tonight at home in prime time, and I think that they put more than enough on the board to cover that 2.5.
That Thursday game, it means you get to play all weekend, right? That's the real thing. He'll be practicing up and getting ready for next week. So yeah, I think I like this game as I have it as a best bet for me now. We force bet all of our primetime games here in Island Games, but I like that as my number 4 best bet. Let's go into our fantasy favorites for the week. Shuey and I are in unanimous decision here. All these games I'm about to roll off have over 45.5 points over under. That means we're expecting at least 6 scores in this game. If you're thinking 8 is the highest you can get for a possession, 8 times 4, that's 5 possession, or 8 times 5, that's 40 possessions. So we're looking at 6 scores or more here. So we're looking at Atlanta at Cincinnati, Detroit at Dallas, Cleveland at Baltimore, Houston at Las Vegas, Seattle at Los Angeles Chargers, and KC at San Francisco. And we're going to roll into what will be our Shoe and Shuey bet here. Shuey, why don't you give your best bet here?
Yeah, I'm taking Cincinnati to cover at 6.5 point favorites at home against Atlanta. Atlanta's looked like they can put some points on the board, but Cincinnati has been putting points up on the board themselves. They're at home. They've been really good covering against the spread at home so far this year, especially in their last 4 games on the season. So I'm going to take Cincinnati at 6.5. I think they win by at least a touchdown. I think they're going to try to get back in a groove. You got Higgins back healthy 100% this week. I think he's still a little banged up last week. Looked like they're clicking a little bit more on offense. So I'll take Cincinnati here to win by a touchdown or more at home.
And I just like that Atlanta has covered all their games so far. So I like that. I'm actually not that big on this one specifically. It's a lean for me. It's not a full on bet. But Atlanta has been able to hang around. I think ultimately they're still going to have, a pass rush that can get after Joe Burrow, that they have not been immune to that at all. And ultimately they were playing for their lives, and they got, New Orleans got Jamar Chase last week. Let's be frank here. And I think it'll still be a close game coming down to the end, giving them 6.5. I know it's at home. For me, I feel like it's still going to be a hard-fought game. Atlanta has, on the road, still been willing to take it to them, and they've just been a team that can hang around. And when you give a team like that 6.5 points, I'm going to take it. Let's go into what's probably one of my favorite fantasy games this week, and that's Detroit at Dallas. Detroit. And Shuey, you got another best bet. Keep it rolling, man.
I do. I'm going to take Detroit at 7-point underdogs here in Dallas. They get DeAndre Swift back. That's a really big help in their passing game and their offensive efficiency. They get the bye week last week. They get the extra rest. They're playing against Dak, who's back in his first game back from the hand injury. So I think it's going to take him a little bit to get back up to game speed. Might come off to a slow start there. And Detroit, so far, going back to last year, have been really good against the spread when they're the underdog. So I'm going to stick with Detroit here at +7 as one of my best bets. And like you said, Mark, this is one of my favorite fantasy matchups of the week. Chark could be back. I'm on St. Amon-Ra St. Brown is healthy. Swift is back. Goff gets his weapon, so he should look good. I'm playing Dak in a couple places where I have him in Superflex. Hopefully, with Dak back, that leads to Dalton Schultz getting some more targets this week if he's healthy. So this is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, and when I see fantasy games like this, my strategy, player name completely out of it, is when I see these games that are above 45, 48, 49 points, that I'm just sort of playing weatherman and saying like, okay, this is going to be high scoring. Let me take any flex player that I feel comfortable with. That's I'm just going to break the tie for all those flex players, and that's sort of how it goes. If I have a one quarterback league and I'm struggling at quarterback, I'm throwing in Dak. If I need an RB2, I'll throw in Pollard. I don't care. It's there. Those kind of things is that's how I like to play my flexes. I don't really like to play my flexes on like, oh, I like this guy. He's been, it's for me. It's more about this game is going to score, and I'd rather have a piece in it. I'd rather have some offense in it because ultimately it's just a large pie, and even one or two things that break my way could end up in a score. So that's kind of how I lean. So, and again, this is the one that I like a lot. We have, I don't think I even gave it, we got Dallas -7, and it's a 48-point over-under on DraftKings. Let's move to Cleveland at Baltimore. You kind of previewed this a little bit before, Shuey. But it looks like both of us have the best bet. We are taking the under at 46.5. I think you probably summed it up for me earlier on. Divisional game, tough fought. I think ultimately both of them, especially if Mark Andrews is not going to play and Bateman's still hurt, I think there's a chance he might play this week. We're not quite sure yet. But I think ultimately there's going to be it's going to be focused on the run on both sides of the ball. I think it'll kill some clock, and ultimately I think it's going to be hard fought, and we'll probably have, it'll probably be something like, a 17-20 game.
I think, you said 46.5. That was the Monday line. We're at 45.5 right now.
Did I say 45? Did I say 46? My fault. It is 45.5, but I'm
45.5 just for clarification. Yeah, no, I'm still taking it. I think that this game is going to butt up right on 44. I think we're going to see either some type of 24-20, not quite 44, 24-21, might
23-20. Yeah,
a little bit separated. Might see if the Ravens, I think, do get out to a lead, might see like a 27-17, which still puts you there at 44. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here where the Browns score under 20 and the Ravens score in that 20 to 27 range.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see like a touchdown from each of them and like three or four field goals, and that's about it. Like that, 3 or 4 field goals from each side. That is an AFC North divisional game if I've ever seen one. Let's move on to Houston at Las Vegas. I do not have this as a best bet, but I am taking Houston +7 as the bet here. And I think that has a lot to do with I don't really believe that much in this Las Vegas offense. They're kind of hurt as it is. They're both going to be trying hard to run the ball, just like we talked about in the last game and these past couple. They're both going to be trying hard to run the ball. And when you're playing that game and both teams are hard off for playing that game, 7 points just seems like a lot to give up. Again, this is a game that I can see easily being 14-17, and for me, it's not a best bet. It's just outside my best. It's my 6th best, but it is a bet for me right now.
Yeah, I lean the same way. Take Houston at +7. I think they said yesterday or the day before, they said Dameon Pierce needs to get 20+ touches this week and going forward. So Houston's going to try to run the ball, control the clock, and keep the game out of Davis Mills' hands if they can avoid it. I think Oakland is going to try to come out and make a statement game here. But I don't know. I still don't believe in that offense as much as the offseason hype gave them. Waller might not play. Renfro's been banged up. Adams has been Adams for Carr, but they don't really seem to be getting those touchdowns.
Put this
And
on a neutral field, Joe, real quick. What would you make this line? Because for me, it would probably be Oakland -2.
yeah, I
And,
was gonna say 2 or 2.5, 3.
yeah. So,
I mean, they're both
when you
bad.
when you move it 3 point, I mean, like 5 even for me feels like a stretch. Like when you move it to Vegas with that in mind, 5 even feels like it's a little bit of a stretch for me. So I'd just rather take the points. I'd rather take the points. The Texans, honestly, I don't even know. I'm not even 100% sure if Derek Carr is much better than Davis Mills to give that much of an upgrade. Not that he's not a good quarterback, but I don't know if he's that much of a big difference maker as Carr is. So before we move on, because we're talking about our fantasy favorites, and we just talked about 2 run-heavy games that probably won't have a ton of passing in all of them. Still doesn't mean I don't like the options in here. Again, a lot of these running backs in both of these games I'll be willing to take. You're still firing up Brandon Cooks. You're still firing up Devontae Adams. Hunter Renfrow looks like he might, he had some hip issue that caught him out of practice today. And Darren Waller also has been missing practice. I know it's still, it's not the end of the week. We'll see how they go. But if that's the case, you got Foster Moreau in line for a start. I think he's all right, but I also think that just leans more to running the ball and just possession, and none of these teams care about the spread. So for me, I like the teams, like the players in them, and you're looking at yardage and you're hoping for scores, but they're not going to be as prevalent as some of the other games we're putting in this fantasy favorite section. One that I am excited for offensive firepower here is Seattle at Los Angeles. The Chargers are favored -5, and the over/under is 50.5 on DraftKings. I'm leaning Chargers -5 here. They do have the short week, but they're still at home. Seattle has been a good team thus far, and I think this might be one of those games that Pete Carroll plays himself and thinks that he has the possession, the time of possession in his hand, and then Justin Herbert, throws 2 or 3 touchdowns on him, and then he can't really come back, and he's the turtle on his back here. That's how I kind of see it rolling. I think the Chargers, they have not lived up to expectations, while the Seahawks have been far above. And I think everyone's kind of got them on notice. Their offense has really changed quite a bit. In the last game, they sort of slowed it down with Kenneth Walker coming in. I think that's what they're going to try and do here. But ultimately, I think Los Angeles is the better team for me right now.
Yeah, I agree. I've got a lean here on the Chargers at 5-point favorites. They didn't look that great against the Broncos last week. I still think they're looking for that game to click on all cylinders. I think I've said this about so many teams last couple of weeks, that this is going to be their game to put things into high gear, and they really haven't. But I think that this could be the game for the Chargers. They started off as 7-point favorites on Monday before that Monday night game. Now it's dropped down to 5. Definitely like this 5 more than that 7. I think the Chargers do win this game. I don't really think they get the home field advantage, even though they get the 3 here for being at home. But I'll take the Chargers. Really like the fantasy options in this game. Eckler has been an absolute monster, rushing and receiving. They should be getting Keenan Allen back this week, hopefully. So Justin Herbert gets another weapon. So looking forward to seeing what happens in this game.
Yeah, I think this is just with Keenan Allen come back and all that. I think it's just to get.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, it's just I'm just parroting what you're saying. It's a get right game for him, and I do worry about the offensive line. We saw Rashawn Slater, I think, got hurt on Monday night, and I don't know what his status for playing is. I didn't check on that before I started here, but it's if he looks like he's playing, I'm fine with it. Less so. This is why it's a lean for me, to be honest. It's not it's not a full on bet for me. So at both of us, the -5 is our lean on this one. Go ahead. You try to throw a trade off.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, I traded for Keenan Allen on 2 contenders earlier in the year after like week 1. I traded for Keenan Allen. I traded away a 23 first for him on a team where I went 13-1 last year and just demolished everybody. You can only trade picks for the following year. Can't go like 2 years in advance. So the picks have a little bit more value to him. But I wanted Allen. He's the only guy that I could really get for that price that people are willing to pay. And then I traded 2 seconds for Keenan Allen and Mike Boone on another contender. Um, the guy just could not get a first for Keenan Allen. I think the one guy in that league has like 9 firsts in 23.
It's a problem right now. There's such a like it's everybody's just holding until sell time. Like we're still in that point. If you're out in your fantasy leagues right now, I'm trying to send trade offers to guys that really should be tanking at this point, and they're still trying to compete, and they're gonna wait until mid October. Eventually, weeks. I think week 7, week 8 really becomes kind of like just like
this week, this week and next week are the times when you need to start planning in your dynasty leagues if you're gonna sell some veterans or try to make a push. Don't wait too long. Be realistic with yourself. Look at what your competition has. I mean, injuries can hit anybody at any time, but just be realistic with what you're looking at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're contending right now or you're competing and you've got yourself a playoff spot far above what you've got, I think you're still competing and you try and win from there. It might be a different angle than what you used to have. It might be not where you are. You might be, a team that thought they might be not contending and now you're in a contention spot. So you've got to trade, you've got to make it work. So get your trades in the next couple weeks. I think it's always kind of stagnant the first few weeks. People still don't quite know what's going on in the NFL this week, until I think week 4 is usually after week 4. I know a lot. I feel like I know a lot more about exactly what the NFL is. But so now people know, 4, 5, and 6. Now people kind of know, and now you can kind of make your moves. So get out there, get those offers out. Let's move on to my favorite game probably this week, and that's KC at San Francisco. Shuey, you got your best bet on this one. Go for it.
I do. I've got KC at 2.5-point favorites as one of my best bets for the week. San Francisco has looked good, but KC's offense has just shown that they can still move the ball on anybody, and Mahomes is going to do Mahomes things. I know they're playing out in San Francisco. That's a tough place to go and play. Mahomes doesn't really seem to be too phased when he's going on the road, but I think they want to have another get-back game after that loss to the Bills last week, and I just don't think San Francisco is going to be able to play good enough defense against the Chiefs, and I don't think their offense is going to be able to necessarily keep up against that high-powered Chiefs offense either.
What is your fantasy outlook for Jimmy Garoppolo this week? You think that he is worth a start? He's a pretty good. He's easily a super flex QB, but if you need him, I mean, quarterback. We're hard out on quarterback this year, and the back end of quarterback 1 looks like trash kind of right now. Do you see spots where you're playing Jimmy Garoppolo in your 1 QB leagues?
I have one league where I might be playing Jimmy Garoppolo if I can find it. There's too many leagues on Sleeper here to scroll through. Did I drop Garoppolo? Nope, wrong league. I had Garoppolo last week on a team where I had Goff on bye. I'm playing Goff over Garoppolo this week. And I still have another lineup where I have Garoppolo in over Goff right now, but I think I'm going to end up playing Goff.
14-team Superflex League. I'm currently looking at. I mean, it's either it's either Jimmy Garoppolo or Davis Mills. I think it's pretty easy for me to go Mills or to go Garoppolo.
Definitely Garoppolo. I mean, looking at Garoppolo's last couple games, I mean, since he's coming, he put in. This is, I don't know if this is 6 point. This is a 4-point touchdown league. He put up almost 19 points last week, 18 points the week before, and then he put up 13, 9, 16. So, I mean, he's QB 21. That's with week 1 kind of off the books. And then week 2 kind of came in, not at the start of the game, but still put up 16 points.
Still put up a good, yeah.
I mean, if
honestly, go ahead.
I'll say if you need somebody for like a bye week filler, if you do have a Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts, or Josh Allen, he is a good waiver wire ad. I think most of the other good waiver wire quarterback options you have there might be on somebody's team at this point, especially in a lot of home leagues where guys are drafting two quarterbacks where a lot of fantasy analysts will say, don't do that. But yeah, no, I think Garoppolo is a fine play at quarterback this week. I mean, he's not going to do sexy numbers, but he could put up 220 and 2 touchdowns for you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in a game against the Chiefs, he's getting Trent Williams back. He's getting Trent Williams back this week to start at tackle, and I like that a lot better. They're going to obviously try and run a lot more with that in mind, but I don't think they're just going to be able to run the ball all game against the Chiefs. And for all we know, it could end up if he's moving the ball and they're moving it down the field, it could end up being 3 touchdowns in a game against the Chiefs. In a game that's competitive, if Kansas City's putting up 28, and you need to put up 28, that's there's not much you can do about it other than throw the touchdowns. Now he will throw interceptions. Don't get me wrong, but I think in games like this, with the line, obviously there's some questions, but Trent Williams being back is a huge upgrade for me. So I'm happy to take them there. And is that your favorite bet of the week, Shuey? KC minus 2.5. I just see it in bold here on the phone.
I don't know why, but that one sell every single week has just bulleted on the spreadsheet. I don't know why.
All right, I don't know. All right.
Before we get into the next game, we got one of your best bets here. Struck 8 o'clock. Got 15 minutes to kick off. Should I get this Shuey done on stream before kickoff?
Let's put it out. Let's put it out right after the show. It's fine. Right. We'll put it out after the show. We got a lot to go through before this game starts here, so I want to keep this moving along. Let's hit my best bet here. I've got Tennessee minus 2.5 against Indianapolis. The over/under is 42. I'm taking Tennessee to win this game. I know Shaq Leonard's coming back, but ultimately, I still think Tennessee is the better team here. They are at home, and ultimately, I think that defense is going to get after Matt Ryan. He had a pretty good game at home, but he's not in the dome anymore. And I think Tennessee is going to win, and I think 3 points is going to be more than enough.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep the ball in King Henry's hands, control the clock. They've looked good their last couple games after a slow start. Should be a relatively lower scoring game here. But yeah, I lean Tennessee at 2.5.
And that's our first one outside of our fantasy favorites games. Again, those fantasy favorites: Atlanta at Cincinnati, Detroit at Dallas, Cleveland at Baltimore, Houston at Las Vegas, Seattle at Los Angeles Chargers, and KC at San Francisco. Into our less favorite games. Again, not that many great fantasy games. There's a lot of good ones in those fantasy favorites. There's a lot of good over-unders. Not a lot of high ones. Not a lot of them hitting getting too close to 50 or above. And we know this is just going to be a down week. We got 4 really good teams on bye. Do you have anything else on this Tennessee game? Or can we can keep going?
Keep on chugging along.
All right, we've got Green Bay at Washington. Green Bay has taken it on the chin by two New York teams, and not the New York team that was supposed to be good. The ones that were both supposed to be bad, and just got destroyed once in London and then embarrassed by the Jets at home this week. Not sure what's going on. This could be a bounce back spot for Green Bay, but with Taylor Heineke going, I don't know if that's a downgrade necessarily from Carson Wentz at this point. And I expect them to keep trying to run the ball. Green Bay, not that great of a run defense. I still think they're gonna be competitive. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers just doesn't have any answers. He doesn't have any consistent answers, at least.
No, I've been going back and forth on this one here. I think I'm going to stick with the lean of Green Bay at 4.5. But in fantasy perspective, I did see a couple tweets today that the Packers are interested in Chase Claypool. Do you think he could be that physical difference-making wide receiver that the Packers need?
If he's the one that's out there, I do like Chase Claypool. I think he's been showing out, hoping to get a trade here. It wouldn't surprise me if they brought him in. I don't know though. Is he going to be there right off the bat? I think he'll probably be their best receiver off the bat, like
Oh
right
yeah,
off the bat.
absolutely.
But I mean, does that convert? Like Aaron Rodgers has this firewall of, do I trust you? Like, did you drop that ball that one time in a crucial situation that made me look stupid? You know, if that Aaron Rodgers is making the decision, I really don't know what's going to happen. I think that Chase Claypool is a good enough receiver and Aaron Rodgers is a good enough quarterback, but I really have to see it happen in real time. Moving right along. Again, that was a lean. We both were leaning that. I was leaning Washington plus 4.5, and you were leaning Green Bay minus 4.5. Moving on to Carolina at home against Tampa Bay. Right now, minus 11 and 40-point over-under. Minus 11 for Tampa Bay. I'm not even touching this game, but I have a really strong feeling that Brady just comes out and explodes on this one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that I don't want to touch it, and this should be the game that Tampa Bay gets their offensive woes fixed and hopefully back on track, because I need it for a lot of my fantasy teams.
I would love to see Tom Brady go. Honestly, just... Isn't this the kind of week that Tom Brady needs to go off? I feel like he just he needs all this turmoil surrounding his life for him now to get up for a game. I feel like he's done it all. He just wants the drama to swirl around, and now he's going to come up and show you for the rest of the season that he's still the GOAT. I think this is the one. They always end up trouncing Carolina, and we are full on avoiding, but if I had to bet, I would say probably lay the points with Tampa Bay. It's not one I'm comfortable with, though. Moving on, my New York Giants at Jacksonville. This is my number one best bet, and Shuey, you're coming with me. We are both taking this Giants plus 3 as a best bet. That over under is 43 points on DraftKings, just so you're aware. But what do we see from Jacksonville that's giving them this many points at home? I get that it's 3 points. It's not that much. But what are we seeing from Jacksonville that makes us believe that they deserve to be a 3-point favorite?
You know, I saw that in there in the spreadsheet there, and I had to go into my apps and make sure you put that in there, right? I was like,
I know.
I was like, why? I said, why? I think it might be more so, no faith in the Giants. Maybe they're thinking they're a fluke. I mean, Jacksonville, they put up a dud against Houston, squeaked one out. Did Indianapolis win or did Jacksonville win last week? Jacksonville won, right?
Jacksonville won, yeah.
So. And a close one.
Yes.
So, I mean, Jacksonville's they're winning against the bad teams and not doing great against the good teams. But, yeah, I have no idea why they're calling this Jacksonville 3, calling it even on a neutral field here. I think that the Giants definitely should get a little bit of a leg here. I might even put a couple bucks on Giants money line on this one.
Yeah, I don't mind hitting the money line on that either. I'm usually too chicken to do it. Actually, the Colts did win that game.
Did they actually?
Yeah, they won by a touchdown at the end. Sorry, guys. Wasn't the one I was watching most of the week. But anyway, you know what? Here's the real thing: is Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked that great. If you want to say, I don't know if you can give that much of an upgrade comparatively from Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence. To be honest, Daniel Jones has been the better, at least, game manager for their team and helping them win going along. And on top of it, even in the games where Jacksonville has shown up, where they played, they've often had a huge advantage from a defensive touchdown score early. The Eagles game, they had a pick six, I think, in the first 5 minutes of the game, and they had another one. Oh, where was the other one that
Chargers
they just
game?
had? It was a Chargers game. That was the other one that they had a pick six. So for me, if they can get that, I don't think that's happening, honestly, because the Giants are a much more conservative offense. They run it through Saquon Barkley. My God, when is the last? I mean, Saquon Barkley as wildcat quarterback in the red zone. How much of a passing team do you think they are? It's just not happening. They're not going to have the opportunities to pick up Daniel Jones. He's actually been one of the most efficient players. He has one interception on the year because Daboll is telling him, I don't, there was a moment in that first game where Daniel Jones threw a really bad pass, interception into the end zone, I think, and And he came back and sat down with Daniel Jones and said, I don't see, like, whatever you were doing, I didn't see that. And from then on, Daniel Jones has been the most careful with the football. And honestly, like, I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Jones still. I don't think he's an amazing quarterback. But he has really stepped up. And the coaching scheme, the scheme, whatever it is that's helping him be really efficient, I'll take that over Trevor Lawrence right now. And 3 points. I mean, like you're making them lay 3 points. This is a 5-1 team right now, and at the very least, what you're showing is this team is a team that can close out games. This is a team that's going to fight for 40 minutes. It's not going to be or 48 minutes. It's not going to, or 60 minutes. Wow, now I'm into basketball season, my friends. This is a team that's going to fight it out for 60 minutes. And I don't think the Jags are like that. I think if this game gets hard fought in the fourth quarter, it's the Giants game. Like if it's close, I don't see them making a huge play to end up winning the game. The Giants have been the team that's been able to do that week after week here. And on top of it, they are undefeated on the road. All right. I'll take my Giants fan tinfoil hat off now, and we'll go on to the Jets going to Denver, and they are a 1-point underdog against the Broncos. For me, I am taking the under at a disgusting 38.5 as my third best bet. I just see this game, Russell being hurt. The Jets are clearly moving to a more run-heavy approach. And for me, this is a game that could have one touchdown or less, and ultimately, that's how Russell's been playing football. It's not a blip anymore. It is a full-on trend. He's got one touchdown in him, and they've got a whole bunch of field goals. And the Jets defense has been playing up. They're playing proud. They're confident, and I think they're going to feel good going into this game. They're going to fight it hard, and ultimately, I don't think either team has enough offensive firepower right now for me to feel confident that either of these teams can put up more than 20 points or even come close to that.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under here as well at 38.5 as a bet. I'm just looking at this spread line here at Denver -1 and -1.5. If this game is in New York, do you see the Jets really being a 4.5 to 5 point favorite?
No. I think you can probably take Denver here and feel pretty good about it. I just honestly, if Russell doesn't play, it changes a lot for me, and that's why I'm kind of avoiding it right now. On Sunday morning, I might be more comfortable with this line, but I am very comfortable, Russell or no, that they will not score 38 points.
And speaking of Russell Wilson, those commercials were absolutely diabolically cringe.
I mean, he has to be doing this on purpose, right? It can't not be on purpose. How big of a I mean, like it is cringe to the max. It's just
any attention's good attention, right?
I think that's what he has to keep telling himself. Like honestly, he probably says that like let's ride. He's saying that at the end of all those commercials that he's shooting. Any attention's good attention as he walks off and leaves. Oh man. Let's go to our final two primetime games. We're gonna go through these quick. To be honest, I'm not really interested in betting either of these games, but since they are forced bet, I'm taking Miami -7 against Pittsburgh. I ultimately think they're a better team. Tua is going to be coming back. I think they're going to want to come back to what they've been doing and airing out that offense. I think that comes right back. Being at home, if it were on the road in Pittsburgh, I might feel a little different about it. But I think ultimately. They just had a huge game against Tampa Bay, and I think another one here is less likely to come out. Well, how about you, Shuey?
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami at home, 7-point favorite. Spurs be getting Tua back this week. And I think that they should more than likely dominate this game.
And we're just going to move on to Monday night. Again, don't really like the team, but I just like Belichick to cover at home. -7.5 New England. Mac Jones or no, I don't think it really matters.
Hell, I think Zappy looks like the better offensive threat than Mac Jones does at the moment.
I don't know where I heard this. I think it was Ray G's podcast. and they put out, what do you think about Mac Jones sent to San Francisco? And they just roll with Zappy.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think they get rid. I don't think they get rid of Mac that easy. I also don't think that San Francisco would make that trade either.
No, I don't think they would. I guess it just goes down to the this was the guy everybody thought that Kyle Shanahan wanted to pick, right? They wanted to pick Mac Jones. That's that's it.
He's just younger Jimmy G.
Yeah. So these
Not as good,
primetime not as good. Yeah.
Not as pretty
Patriots
either.
know how to Patriots know how to pick a scheme quarterback, though. Let me tell you that every year they can find somebody that they can just throw in there, and he'll play just fine. So these primetime games, again, not a huge fan of either of them, but we're both taking Miami -7 and New England -7.5. I also don't mind the under in the Monday night game either, but again, these are all just leans for me. Rattling off our bets, I'll go first. My number 1, Giants +3. Number 2, Tennessee -2.5 against Indy. We're going with the under in the Denver and New York Jets game as my third best bet. I'm taking Arizona -2.5 tonight, and we've got the under in the Cleveland-Baltimore game. Shuey, go for yours.
And my 5 best bets in no particular order: Cincinnati -6.5, Detroit +7, Ravens Browns under 45.5, Chiefs 2.5-point favorites, New York Giants +3, and for our Shuey in Week 7, we've got Mark with Atlanta at +6.5, and myself at Cincinnati at -6.5.
And again, we've been 4-0 in our best bets past 2 weeks. So we've got Giants +3 that we're both hanging on to. We've got the under in the Cleveland-Baltimore game that we're both hanging on to. So if you want to go with us, we've been doing pretty well when we both go together. So hopefully this will keep going here. Again, make sure that you're betting responsibly. We're doing most of this for fun and inside of our means. If you are feeling like you have a problem gambling, please make sure you seek help in the state that you're in. We all want you all to have a great weekend here, have some fun, get make your plays, go with your gut here, and we'll have a great week. And I'll be looking forward to that Shuey from you tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take it right now.
All right, out there, have a good one. Take care.
See you guys.